Good morning. So here we have a waste bucket. So printed that off last night with that lovely shade of God knows what it is, which I've hardly used. So I thought I'd use it for waste. Meanwhile, made this 9-port hub and screwed that onto this little device here. So later on I will come and fit that on the back and get two of these Ace 2 Pros up and running and try and get a color print going. So all good so far, although as you can see I did start doing a green waste bucket and it failed. What happened was, where you have the single filament holder and it's pulling in here, there's got to be a better way of arranging this. It finished the green filament, pulled the last bit out and into the tube, but somewhere in there it got jammed before it realized it ran out of filament, and then I ended up with a partial blockage. You know, on the end of those things they have that last kink, and I think that got stuck in the tube, and then it ran out of filament even though there was some in the tube, and then started printing again before it finally ran out and asked for a refill. At that point though, the nozzle had moved up slightly so that when it restarted the nozzle was actually up in the air. So that's as far as that one got. So I changed it out, replaced it, and printed again with this horrible purple. So it's a shame. It's like the other one must have got to about here before that happened. These things happen. These things happen. But anyway, got a good one now, although I think I'm probably going to spray that one with some paint. Right, let me go and get on with setting up these Ace Pros and actually relocating this somewhere where I can keep it set up. I need to play snooker sometime today. Right, catch you all later. Right, so let's just have a look at this bin. So I mean, it came out nice. You can see some sort of rough spots there, but when I started the print, I turned the speed up to maximum. So I changed it from normal up to max. So, and this was old filament that had been sitting on a stand as well. So, and you don't know what the settings are because they were preset. So I need to slice some models of my own and let it print to see how that comes out. But all in all, on the fast setting, it came out very nice. So yeah, so I'm going to move this thing and then do some more testing on it. But yep, one waste collector. Right, I've also been playing around on how to stack these Ace 2 Pros as well, just to get them as close together and as functional as they can be in a smaller space as possible. So this was something that I did for the original Ace Pros, which tall table to put the rear one on, so front one could just sit in front of it, and you could open them up and just sort of leave one on a shelf behind the one in front. So I was trying something similar to this, but how I could get them closer together, and that is quite simply by not raising the back one as much. You know, it really don't need to do that, because I suddenly realized that if you open up the back Ace Pro, the front one will open up as well. while infringing on the space of the other one with no trouble. So as long as you open up the back one, you know, with those down, that's going to clash, bang, you can't do anything. But open up the back, gives you that extra space in the front, and you can then do that. So you can get them a bit closer together. And in fact, if I make the little stand in white there a little shorter, I could probably get them even closer together and still open up. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to try and do. So these will come along. I'm going to place them to the side, probably along here. Yeah, interesting that where they want you to put the feeding mechanism and the waste bin and the external spool holder is all the same side, that you're going to end up logically putting these. Okay. But yeah, so now I've got to find a space large enough for that and the two Ace Pros to sit on the side. And that's going to take some creative rearranging in my workspace. And then I've got to carry this heavy bugger through. Okay, I'll get back once I've sorted something out. So I'm getting ready to fit the return detection module onto the back of the printer there. Just something worth mentioning. That updated one with the slide-in part, the bolts that come with that, different size. So notice the bag says adapter for new return detection module, short screws, whereas the original one had nice big long screws because it had to pass through the whole thing and wasn't going to be sliding out. So just bear that in mind if you pull one of those ones out of the Ace 2 Pro box that don't use the screws that came with the machine. So I'm just going to keep them safe with the return detection module that came with it, just in case I ever have to revert back to that. Right, let me get on with taking this, and like I say, I'll screw it into the back there. You can see where it goes into those holes. A couple of screws to hold it in place. And as I already fitted the updated little carbon fiber printed hub with the colettes that won't stay in, or at least some of them won't. Ones that came with it had these big thicker colettes. The new hubs had these smaller ones, which I don't think are going to work, but I'm going to try. I might have to 3D print some more larger ones to fit in. We'll see. All right. I went back to the original module that came with the printer in the end, because the new one with the slide out part won't actually allow me to slide this piece back in because it's larger than the standard 4 port hub once it's been fitted. So I had to go back to the original. Anyway, no great shakes. So right, so that simply plugs in to that port there. It leaves that 6 port one. I think it's 6. No, it's another 4 port. Leaves the other 4 port hub free to go to the first Ace Pro, and then they daisy chain off that. And this, of course, just plugs in there. And then the other Bowden tubes just come in underneath and hopefully don't fall out. Right. Now I'm going to pick this thing up and move it. Okay, so I found a place for it. I cleared some space. My poor old Brick 20 has been moved over with the pets and the 128. And I've managed to get the printer and 2 of the Ace Pros on this bit of desk. So I've only hooked up the 2 because I've only got that 8-port hub so far, and I'm at a loss on how I'm going to connect more, unless, like I say, it's in that accessory box I keep mentioning. So things to note, I printed that 8+1 hub, but when I put the colettes in and the tubes, the design of it, the pieces that come into these slots here are not long enough, so it falls out. So it was useless, and I need to perhaps redesign that one piece to have some longer parts. So I went back to my good old round screw off top hub, another 8+1 I use on my Cobra 3 and Cobra 3 Max, Cobra 3B2 and Cobra 3 Max. So there you go, you can see it. One there, one there. I do like them because all you got to do is twist the top and you can clear any blockage, put them back on, and you're done. Yay, couldn't be easier. So I managed to squeeze one of them in around the back there because they face downwards, which is why you want to make sure they're secure. I had to print some extra colettes, which is what the Neptune 4 Max is doing over there, giving me some spares. So they came out pretty good. So now I'm loading up the first colors. So things to note, let's say I made that little riser so I could pass the cables from this one underneath and around the back. But little observation, they need to make those Bowden tubes longer. They're about the same size as the ones you get on the 3V2, which, you know, just about snake around and get there. In fact, I'm tempted to say they might even be a bit shorter. But if you're going to be like me, trying to put 3 or 4 of these Ace Pros around, the tubes that come with them are not going to be long enough. They're too short. So I do have an extra set of Cobra 3 Max Bowden tubes stashed away, so I'll be able to use them. Of course, you can just buy a long length and cut your own to size. Another option. But God knows where I'm going to put these next ones. Might have to clear out the old Mega 2000 and have them there, and then I'm definitely going to need longer tubes. Or I've got that space underneath, probably make some sort of shelf underneath there, and then put the other 2 Ace Pro 2s underneath and feed the tubes up around the back and in. So that might work as well, if the data cable is long enough to reach. That will be the next one. But anyway, that's something to look at later on. So for now, I'm loading up the filament. I've got 2 in there, and I'll end up putting, obviously 4 in there, and I'll end up putting another 4 in here later. Using just a mix for testing. So I've got some G-Tech white, some Anycubic black, I've got some JO red, and some King Rune blue. Basically whatever, it's all PETG. Basically first stuff off the shelf. Be a good mix to try and see how they all work. So I need to cut pieces off there, feed them in. Hopefully it'll all go nicely, and see if they go through the hub and into this machine. So now they're all connected. I get the option now for the Ace 1, Ace 2. The single filament is not activated. So but like I say, I can flip between these. So need to load them up, tell it what I've got in there. The Anycubic one should tell me themselves. But let me get on with that. I'll come back and we'll see how it's worked. Colors loaded up, and there we go. We're ready to print. Let's get something going. Okay, so after doing some simple circles to make sure that the S1 Max is printing color correctly, I decided to have a go at this. This is basically found a black and white image of Wonder Woman with a stained glass effect, and then I colored it in using the Anycubic slicer and make it look nice and pretty. And I printed a few of these on the Kobra S1 Max. I took the same file, and obviously I just scaled it down a bit for the smaller bed. So I thought we'll give this one a go because it's a design that's pretty nice, I think. We'll see how it comes out. So it's a 6.5 hour print, and I've had this now running for a while. So I'll go over here and take a quick look. So as you can see, it's all going down rather nice. It's on layer. It's on the last layer. It's reached 6 of 6. So we've got about 34 minutes left to run, and then I will take it off the bed and show it to you and see what you think. So I'll leave the printer to it. Right, back in a bit. It's a bit of a shame I didn't get my 16 port hub today because of the bad weather that came through the area. So it's still in Lafayette, but I should have it tomorrow, so they say. So I did a little test. Another little test. Did some Betty Boop Twizzlers. So I made these originally on the Kobra S1 Max and printed some out. And anyway, as you can see here, I did one to start with and printed it out, and it came very well. It's a twizzle stick, in case you're wondering. You pop it in a drink and you use it to mix up your cocktail. So I think it's cute. Anyway, so having got one of them off, do some more for the bar. So I managed to get 6 on the plate there. So that's what I got running off now. So if I take you over, you can see them chugging away there. Got about an hour left before they're finished. So yeah, but all in all, if they all come off with the quality of this one, I will be very impressed indeed, because yeah, I think it came out rather nice. As you can see, the different heights in this. And that's what did I use there? 0.28 layer height. There's about, I think, 12 or 14 layers to it. Mostly white to start with. Yeah, let me just show you on the slicer. So let's take it all the way down here. So as you can see, it lays down a couple of layers of white. Then you start seeing the flesh coloring coming in. Red on the dress and the lips, and then finishes off with the hair, and you're done. So yeah, give it another hour and we'll see how they all look. Print finished, everything came out great, so just a case of prizing them off the bed and throwing them in the bar. Nice job. Good day, folks. So it's been an interesting evening. So the S1 Max has been printing excellent with the 8 colors attached to the Ace Pros. So I've been waiting all along for the accessories box to arrive, which I assumed would have had a 16 port hub in it, as it was a 16 color printer, and it arrived yesterday. And actually, let me flip this around and show you. Right, here we go. So turn this around. What it actually came with was 2 8-port hubs, which are the bits that you can see there. So that arrived in 2 little boxes and nothing else. So I was like, well, how the hell do we connect that to this? So I fired off an email to Anycubic saying, look, is there something I can make? Is there something you forgot to send me that combines them together? And I posted on the Anycubic site to see if anyone else had any ideas, and sure enough, they did. There's a little piece here which I managed to print. Now, let me just load up my slicer software. So there's a wiki on the Anycubic site which explains how to get 16 color printing, and surprise surprise, it doesn't involve a 16 port hub. It involves a way of combining the two 8-port ones that they sent me. So let me actually load my Elegoo slicer here, because that's how I made this thing. And come on, load, load, load. Download a new version. I'll do that later. Right, so what you get on their wiki site is this little thing, which I said on the back, where you screw that into the feeder, so it's got the one outlet, as you can see on the top, and then the two 8-port hubs screw in on the bottom here. Oh god, these things all over the place. Screw in on the bottom there. So they've got 3 variations of it. 2 of the variations are split into sections. I just printed the single piece one in PLA carbon fiber on the Centauri Carbon, because that's been very good. This carbon fiber PLA is excellent for making various hubs. Those screw off top hubs that I've been using on the Anycubics have all been done using that stuff, and they work fantastic. So sliced one of these, run it off, and where is it here? Slice plate. It's about a 3-hour print, because I did 100% infill on it, and let's see if it'll actually come in here. If it slices it, I'll show you how it looks inside. I did some supports just from the bottom. I printed it with the single nozzle upwards so it would get the better finish. And the way it's designed with these curved ridges means that it doesn't need supports anywhere else, just on that bottom part. Come on, there we go. So there's the finished model. The green is the supports, and if I take this down here, let's see that basically what it's got is those 2 feed holes that'll come from the 8-port hubs, and they've just got a hollow tube inside that'll come up until it reaches that single tube, and then it'll pass the filament through. So like I say, 3-hour print. So it doesn't use much filament, 30.48 grams. So a cheap little thing to run off. Right, so once I had that, screwed the two 8-port hubs into it, then brought that into the filament feeder thingy, whatever they call it, on this to go to the single tube and into the machine. So all good there. The only problem you then face, and I'll just pan out a bit, is how to arrange your Ace 2 Pros. So the problem you're going to face is the Bowden tubes that come with these things are short. Okay, we'll come over here. You know, that's it. So two will sit quite happily to the side. You could probably run one off the top, but I wanted to either put them underneath or put two on the other side. Well, if you try and put two of these on the other side, okay, the tube should be long enough to run in from both sides of the machine, but the data cable isn't long enough to daisy chain from the back of one of these around the back of this and then into Ace Pros onto this side. It's just slightly too short. So they really need to supply a slightly longer data cable, at least one of them, just so that you can bridge from one side of the machine to the other, or even pass it down under a desk or somewhere else, because yeah, the standard ones, yeah, they're just a little too short. And then the same thing for these tubes. So what I've done here, I've got two mounted on the side, and they're coming into this first hub here. I've got another 4 tubes then for the other 8-port hub, which have gone down the back and have gone into the rear of this, and they are tight. That's about as you can see them going up the wall there. There's very little wiggle room left. So the other one that was going to go by the side, that would really be pushing it. So thankfully, I always keep spares. I've got some spare Bowden tubes that I bought for my Kobra 3 Max, and the Kobra 3 Max tubes, as you can see, are about twice as long as the ones that come with the V2 or this S1. So these things are going to have ample length to run down the back into this without me having to overstretch them. And of course, there's going to be times when you're going to want to slide these things out. So having them where you've got no wiggle room is really not the best solution. So I'm going to get on with that. As I got that one connected at the moment. Those two are all hooked up. So I've just got to throw these tubes into the ports on the back of this, slide them down the back, hook them up to the rear 4 ports there. I've already got the data cable hooked up, so everything's daisy chained together. And then I'll come back to you once I've done that, and we'll see about loading up some spools and trying a 16 color test print. Right, back in a bit. So everything installed, switched on the Ace Pros, switched on the printer, and if everything has gone right, when I press the Ace 2 Pro button here, we should see 1, 2, 3, all 4 connected. So I've got white, black, red and blue in one of them. I've got yellow, green, silver and like a fleshy pink in the other, and the other 2 are empty. So next task will be for me to go and pick some stuff to load into these other 2. So this is where I probably need something like a orange, a grey, as opposed to the silver, perhaps a light blue, a light green to go with the others, and that still leaves me 4, so brown, clear, and 2 other things. Right, so I'm going to go and trot off, go and see what I can find in my little storage space, and we'll be back and load this thing up. Right, so picked another 8 spools to load up. So I've got some gold, turquoise, orange, peanut brown or brown, I can't remember which there, beige, purple, cyan, and dark grey. So a mixture of all different brands to go in there. So we've got some G-Tech, some CCE 3D, whoever they are, Anycubic, JO, King Rune. So good spread of brands to all test out. So let me go through the tedious bit now of loading these in, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, so filaments loaded. Actually updated the firmware on these 2 new Ace 2 Pros. Then I had to switch the machine off, reset everything, boot it back up. Only problem I had is the purple. For some reason, it wants to insist that it's grey by reading the code on the spool, and it won't let me change it on this Ace 2 Pro, but I can come into the slicer itself and change it to a purple here. It's just weird that it locks it on the Ace 2 Pro and won't let you change it or override it, but yeah, one of those weird things. So all I've done is 16 discs. Each row corresponds to a Ace 2 Pro unit. So I'm just going to slice this up and then let it run, and we'll see if everything prints okay. So I want to remote print it, make sure everything matches. Green being purple. Okay, so what do we have here? Petchy, this is that. God, let's have a look. So that's my gold. That's my turquoise. That's a dark grey. That's this color 13, 14. This one should be 15. This is the one that it keeps insisting isn't purple, although it is. Trust me on that. And then this one should be 16. So let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's all my colors set. So let's start a print and keep our fingers crossed to see what this thing does. Okay, so test complete. So everything worked fine. I was quite relieved none of the tubes fell out, so it's all looking good. So I just got to clean up that plate, and now I can actually work on getting something practical printing. All right. Well, so far so good with this machine. Everything working fine. Nice one, Anycubic. With all 16 colors working, I'm going to try something a little harder for the printer. So here's a Judge Dredd scene with Judge Hershey and Judge Anderson, and I originally did this one in 8 colors for the Kobra 3 Max. So I've upped this one. It's now using 14 colors, and I'm going to send that and leave that printing for a few hours, and we'll see how that one comes out. So the print finished. I had a jam on the purple, which a pain to free on these sealed hubs, but anyway, got there and it carried on and finished. But it looks pretty good. I mean, I'm very happy with the overall result. There's a bit of reflection there, which is probably making it look a bit iffy, but really did come out nice. Only problem is it lost what colors it was printing at some point, because if you look here, background's brown, it should be blue, I ended up with some purple where there should have been beige. But those were the two colors that were having trouble going into the printer registry when I was loading them. It was like the purple one was a G-Tech filament, and it was coming up as beige, and you couldn't change it because it was recognizing the RF tag. So I ended up peeling the RF tag off. I unloaded everything, and I noticed when I was unloading, I thought I was pressing to unload spooler 4, and it was unloading spooler 3. And likewise, you unloaded something on spooler 3 and the corresponding slot on 4 was going. So somehow, at some point, it had managed to flip 3 and 4 aces around, and it was pulling from the wrong slot. So I unloaded completely 3 and 4. Switched off all the Ace Pros, switched off the printer, switched the printer on, switched on Ace Pro number 1, verified that the colors were correct. Number 2, when it came up, verified the colors were correct. Then switched on number 3, and when that registered, I loaded in each color one by one. And this time I got all the correct colors in there. The purple wasn't recognized, probably because I ripped that tag off, like I said. Got that set up correctly. And number 4 as well, switched that one on finally, loaded everything in there, and the Anycubic one that was beige that it wasn't recognizing did get recognized this time. So everything seems to be loaded fine. So I'm about to try the same print again and see if the colors this time come out correctly. We shall see. Okay, so mapped. Jesus, I thought I mapped the colors and it's just changed everything before I started printing. Why the hell did it do that? Let me know. Remote print. Okay, now they've gone back to, as the word 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6. This is this one. This is that one. That is orange. Oh, that one is gold. This one is orange. This one is beige. That's correct. This one is dark. Right. Right. That should be everything correct. Don't change. I'm wondering if it's the slicer software, not the Ace Pros, that have been flipping this around. Start print. Okay, that's the file coming in. Yep. Check our Ace Pros. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Should be out. Yep. Orange, brown. Yep. Number 4. Right. Fingers crossed. Let's see how this one goes. Okay, so this time perfect print. All the colors came out correct. And yeah, it really did a nice job on that. You can see the thickness on this, 10 layers. So quite happy with that. So now I can start colouring up a few extra items and get them printing as well. So yep, all in all, well done. Nice machine, working well, but still going to try and rearrange these Ace Pros somewhere. I think I'm definitely going to move them from there up here, so that if I do have jams, they are easier to get to. And I've been printing another one of these screw off top ones, because that does make life so much better when you get a jam inside, and all you got to do is rotate the top and you can take the lid off and get to whatever's in there, broken filament, etc., etc. So, all right, that'll give me something to do, and I also designed a little stand for these so that they can go one end to the other. So they're a bit large, so I've got the orange stomp Giga printing some base. It's a very simple thing, two bases and legs that will slot into them and keep it steady, but it'll allow me to put one under the other and still have room for the one underneath to completely open without having to have some sort of sliding mechanism or whatever. All right, catch you all later.